Hi everybody, this is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy. Welcome to lesson number 21. In this lesson, we will introduce the student to the last exception to the closed syllable rule, IND. Let's set up the table. You'll need your top 160 sight word sheet, the sight word study method instructions, the card pack on which the student's currently working, some blank cards for introducing new sight words, a highlighter, markers, and some pencils. For the short vowel drill, you'll have the teacher instruction sheet, the keyword pictures, and the keyword sentence. For the phonemic awareness drill, the teacher instruction sheet and the tiles. Then comes the visual and auditory drill. You'll have the instruction sheets and the card pack on which the student is currently working. Then we'll have the syllable card drill. In today's syllable card drill, we will not be using compound words, so we're moving on. These are 2-syllable words that are not compound words. Then we'll move on to the magnetic letter tile reading and spelling drill. For this one, you'll need the cookie sheet with the magnetic letter tiles spread in a rainbow shape. You'll need the syllable card, the syllable pounding instruction sheet, the kinesthetic discovery sheet, but you probably won't use that this lesson because we are introducing some new content. And you'll need the sheets that go with the lesson, including the isolated word list, the story, and the sentences that the student will write. In addition to all of that, you are going to need to have your closed syllable exception sliders. We're going to use these sliders as a way to review the ones that we've covered so far. And we're almost through them all. Once the student has mastered the different closed syllable exceptions, then you can stop using the slider for that particular one. And there's only one more thing left. We're going to do a blending drill when we introduce the last closed syllable exception, which is IND. So you'll have to have that set up on the table, or you can use the video if you'd prefer. Let's begin with the sight word study method. Student, take out your card pack with the words on which you're currently working. And I want you to read each card. When you finish, put a check mark for all the ones you got right in the corner of the card. Teacher, you're ready with blocking strategies for if the student encounters some difficulties. Once you're done, student, give the card pack to your teacher, and it's your teacher's turn to read. The teacher reads the cards, and the student writes them down. And remember that the correct ones get a check mark on the card in the opposite corner. After you're finished, discuss if any of those words have been mastered, and if they have, you can remove them from the pack. Then, if you have time, you can introduce a new sight word. It's time for the short vowel drill. Student, take out your keyword pictures and your keyword sentence. With 2 fingers, trace each shape, saying the sound that the short vowel makes, and the keyword. So we start with the keyword and we say apple, and then we underline it and we say the sound of the vowel ah. Do that as many times as your teacher deems necessary, and then say your keyword sentence by pulling out, really stretching those vowel sounds. Let's do the phonemic awareness drill. Student, you'll need your colored tiles for this one, so can you take those out now? Take out a color and call it S. Can you repeat that sound? Okay. And now take out a new color, put it right after the S, and call it ANK. Can you repeat that sound? Okay, now let's put S plus ANK together. Tap it and say it and blend it together. What's your new word? Did you get sank? If you did, that's right. Find the S in sank. I'd like you to change the S to a O. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get lank? If you did, that's right. Okay, put those tiles away and we're going to start a new chain. Take out a tile and call it ink. Can you repeat that sound? Okay, now I'd like to add a new color, P, on the front of ink. Tap it and say it. What's your new word? Did you get pink? If you did, that's right. Find the P in pink and change it to an O. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get link? If you did, that's right. Now add a B on the front of link. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get blink? If you did, that's right. You can put your tiles away. You'll need your card pack now because it's time for the visual drill. The teacher flashes a card and the student says the sound of the card. So you would say purr. Remember that we're taking the off of these sounds because we mistakenly put that sound on many phonemes, and we don't want to do that. Teacher, you can do 6 to 8 cards and then come back to me. Let's do the auditory drill. The teacher has the card pack for this one, and the teacher says, student, your sound is full. Can you repeat that sound? Now I'd like you to write down the symbols for full. It's a consonant blend. Then underline it and say the sound again. Time to check your work. How'd you do? And teacher, you're remembering that once the student has demonstrated that it's mastered with writing and reading, then you can remove the card from the pack. So we're always adding new cards once they're introduced in the lesson, and we are removing them once they're mastered. Your teacher has the syllable card drill all set up on the table for you. Student, you're going to tap it and say it and read down the left column and then read down the right column. Then you'll make some nonsense words by reading straight across each row. The last step is you get to unscramble column number 2 to make real words. Notice that we're not using real words in both columns. Sometimes they're just parts of words, aren't they? They're syllables, but not compound words, not a word on one side and a word on the other. Let's do some syllable pounding. So student, you stretch out your arm, and every time you hear a syllable, you bang your arm with one hand and your finger shoots out your word. And remember that you're listening for vowel sounds, because essentially that's what a syllable is. It's you're listening for, is there one vowel sound or two? And if you have any trouble, you can put your hand under your chin and feel it this way, because your jaw drops each time a syllable happens. Shawna. So my chin hit my hand twice, so there are 2 syllables in my name. Rob is your word. How many syllables do you hear in rob? Did you say 1? If you did, that's right. I only hear the ah sound in rob. How about if we make it into a bigger word? Robin. How many syllables in that one? Pound it out. If you said 2, you are correct. Now, how about investing? How many do you hear in that one? Did you say 3? That's what I hear. I in in, invest, and I again in ing. Okay, how about sing? Did you say 1? If you did, that's right. Let's try one more. Sing-ing. Did you say 2? If you did, that's correct. Good job. Let's review the closed syllable exceptions that we've learned about so far. We know that a closed syllable exception is when a vowel in a closed syllable is making an unexpected sound. And it does this with certain patterns that we've learned about. For example, ALL does not make al, which we would expect. It says all. So we have to know about that because it's surprising. And we want to be able to read and spell these things correctly. Let's use the sliders to review this concept. Teacher, if you have the sliders ready, you can just fast forward the video through this section. And if not, student, you can use the sliders in the video portion right now. We're moving into the new content part of the lesson, and today we're going to learn about the last exception to the closed syllable rule. When you think about it, we haven't learned a lot of exceptions, have we? I think there's about 8 of them. So with closed syllables, really, it is a trustworthy syllable type, isn't it? There's just a few things we have to remember, different combinations of letters that surprise us. The last surprising combination is, we'll start with a syllable that you can trust here, like in. So in, it's doing exactly what we expect. But when we add a D on it, this combination of IND does something unexpected. The I often says its name. So this would be IND. And you can see there's lots of words that does this, but this would be find. Teacher, you got an eye on the time, and if you have time, it would be great to put IND on the magnetic letter board and let the student just experiment with pulling different consonants down to make different words with IND. If you don't have time to do that in this lesson, then you can just move on to the blending drill to practice IND words. Let's do the magnetic letter tile drill. So student, take out your board, and I'm going to tell you that your first sound is Can you repeat that sound? Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Okay, your second sound is IND. It's one of those closed syllable exceptions we're working on. IND. Can you say that? Now there's several sounds within that one unit. IND. Find the correct tiles and pull them to the middle. And then tap the 2 parts and say the word. Did you get mind? If you did, that's right. Okay, put your tiles back and let's try a new one. Student, your sound is B. Can you repeat that sound? Okay, find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Your next sound is ing. Can you repeat that sound? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap it and say it. Did you get bing? If you did, that's correct. Teacher, if you have time, you can do another word this way, and if not, then you can move on to the isolated word list and have the student read it, and then you'll have the student read the connected text, which is the story, and then come back to me. We are heading into the writing section of the lesson, so it's time to get the magnetic letter tile board out again, and we'll do the magnetic letter tile drill for spelling. Student, I'm going to tell you that your word is wind. Can you repeat that word? Now let's use it in a sentence. I might say, I will wind up the clock. What would you say? What's the first sound that you hear in wind? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what's the second sound that you hear in wind? I'm thinking of the second sound as the unit. It's like the closed syllable unit of letters that we call a closed syllable exception. Eind. Find the correct tiles and pull them to the middle. Okay, and teacher can check the work. All right, and you can take your tiles back and we'll try a new one. Your word is cold. Can you repeat that? Okay, now let's put it in a sentence. I have a cold. You try it. And what's the first sound that you hear in the word cold? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. All right. And what's the second sound that you hear in the word cold? Think of it as a whole unit. It's one of those exceptions that we've been working on. Find the correct tiles and pull them to the middle for that second sound. And then teacher can check your work, tap it and say it. All right, and if there's time, you can do another one, teacher, with the student. And if not, let's move on to tapping and tracing and writing. So student, you will need your lined paper and a pencil for this one. I'm going to tell you that your word is wild, and I want you to tap it out, saying the sounds, and then grab the word, pull it, and say the whole word, then write it down. Teacher can check your work. Okay. And your second word is bind, as in I will bind my hands, like tie it up. Okay, so your word is bind, and this time I'd like you to trace out the letters saying the sounds as you do it. Grab the whole word, pull it across, say the whole word, and then write the word down. Okay, hope you did well there. And for your last one, you can either tap or you can trace, your choice. Your word is, let's do fang. So go through the steps. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do today is our connected text, which is the sentences. Your teacher will read your 3 choices, and student, you can choose the 2 sentences that you would like to write. And then after you write a sentence, I would like you to use CHOPS to check your work. Let's do a quick review before you go. We've been talking about exceptions to the closed syllable rule. These exceptions are times where the vowels are not doing the expected thing. We've learned to trust that in a closed syllable, like a normal one like this one, the consonant is closing it in, so we know it's a closed syllable. There's only one vowel, so that's part of the definition. We know it's a closed syllable. So we can expect that the vowel will say itchy. It's short vowel sound, and in this case it does. But when we add a D, then we have this little situation where it's an exception to the closed syllable rule because the vowel is saying an unexpected sound. It says its name, I. So this is eind. Can you say that? And if we turn it into a word, tap it and say it, and you get mind. Great job. This is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy.